Hello. Hello, everyone out there.
Hello, Facebook land.
Hello.
You keep chit-chatting while I make sure this is all good.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Maggie will make sure all systems are go. Meanwhile, hello, everyone out there. Thank you for joining us today at our Facebook Live event where we're going to bring you our expert in all things financial planning, especially if you are a woman who might be going through a divorce or any kind of transition in your life. Brenda Bridges, she's in Tennessee right now, but she practices out of Tennessee and Chicago. And you know, anybody can practice from anywhere, just about. We're all virtual these days. So glad that you decided to join us here today and talk about all things shoulding, right? We're going to talk about how you should stop shoulding yourself because there's enough guilt and shame and I don't know, kind of down feelings that come along with money sometimes. They come from lots of different places. They come from our own self-esteem. They come from our family. They come from our culture. And Brenda's going to talk about how we can change some of those feelings and how we can kind of look at different analogies and take a look at what's best for us. We have an Arizona person. Hello, Arizona, sunny Arizona.
I'm away in 2 days, Arizona.
Say that again.
You're going?
You're going?
Arizona Tuesday night. I have a concert.
Nice.
There. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, as people know, Purse Strings is here every week to provide women here in this 50 plus and fabulous group how to be financially fearless. So pursestrings.co is our website, and you can go there to just find tools and resources that you need to make smart financial decisions, whatever it might be. If you're going to buy a house, sell a house, if you're going to buy a car, need to buy auto insurance, if you're thinking about life insurance, if you need to work with a financial planner, we have a cadre, a list of lots of different financial professionals who we've vetted, and we consider them our Purse Strings approved providers. They're going to work with you as women the way that you deserve to be served from a financial professional. Too often we've heard women feeling that they don't trust financial professionals. There's a big divide between women and financial industries for lots of different reasons. One being the top reason we hear all the time is what, Maggie?
They didn't even look me in the eye.
That's right. They don't look at them, and we just throw our hands up about that. Can't even imagine buying anything from a store or anything without having someone look at you and engage and know that you're there in front of them, much less hand over your life savings or talk about some very personal information. So Purse Strings was created so that women do have a go-to place to get tools and resources, get their questions answered, and look through a list of financial professionals that they may need at any point in time over their lifetime. So that's pursestrings.co, and we're thankful to Kim for allowing us to come to this group and bring us these resources. Like I said, today Brenda Bridges is here, and she's going to just have a dialogue about money and approaching some future planning for yourself. So I will let Maggie kick it off and introduce Brenda more formally.
Yes, we have Brenda here, and she works together with you to, or this wrong part. She works together to make your financial future better, whether it's retirement planning, trying to reach a dream goal, or getting through a divorce. Empowered and supported. Her passion is to help women with their financial choices. And so she also has her certified divorce financial analyst and divorce mediator and certified divorce coach. So she is our divorce specialist, whose her niche is really in that area to make you feel empowered and supported. So we're so excited to have you here today, Brenda. And we are just going to jump right in. So when I was asking you, what do you want to talk about for this presentation today? And you're just like money, guilt, fear, women. I was like, all right. Why is that?
Because we don't talk about it enough, and we need to, and we can change the world if we do. I think, I know, I landed in this industry as kind of an evolution, and for the first several years of being in it, hated it, couldn't stand it. I was one of the financial advisors, and yet they didn't look me in the eye. I'd be in a room with literally 23 in my group, and 22 were men, and never had to wait for the bathroom, which was a good thing. But other than that, like I learned, and this is why I struggled with it for so long, that the industry, the financial services industry, wasn't built on the same mores, the same decision-making processes that we as women or the feminine tend to use and follow and go through. And I think a lot of that goes back to, Barb mentioned earlier, the shouldas, right? And pause for just a second and think, anyone who's listening, when someone says, hey, I want to talk to you about your money, or I want to talk to you about finances, or anything in that genre, what is your immediate, like, visceral reaction? What's your feeling? Is it like, awesome, this is going to be a great ride? Probably not. And what I hear most is not the, and probably because I look people in the eye, not that they don't look me in the eye, but what I hear most is I shoulda. It's so guilt and shame ridden. It's, I should know how to do this. I should have taken care of this earlier. I should have paid attention to what my husband was doing. I should have understood that we didn't have any life insurance. I shoulda. And none of it is, I should congratulate myself because I got such a good handle on this. It comes back to this, I need to take, sorry, there are sirens outside of my office, of course, right now. So hopefully it's not too disruptive.
It's good so far.
Okay. Getting closer. Sorry. And I lost my train of thought. So we're talking about, all the should have is us taking responsibility on ourselves. It's women taking responsibility. But in taking that responsibility, we're kind of beating ourselves up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that goes really deep and has a big backstory that until we start talking about it in many different ways, we can't really do anything about. And it's going to continue to chug along, and financial advisors are going to start their conversations with, hey, can I talk to you about my latest REIT, or what's your asset, or what's your risk tolerance level, or let's take your portfolio and review your asset classes. And what does that mean? And for most women, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. And what it does mean is they're listening to these words going, no idea what you're even talking about, as they're probably not looking them in the eye. So where do we go with that? And I think we back off and we talk about the guilt, the shame, the shoulda that we bring to our financial lives, and what's behind all of that, so that we can deal with all of that. So
sounds amazing.
That was a very long-winded answer to why I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because we need to talk about it. And the more we talk about it, the more we can just put it away.
And I mean, we should start just like, hey, you came to the table, you're here right now, we've been starting to have the conversation, so go you for that. We always try to push it. No better day to start than today. Like, tomorrow's gone. What can you do? Let's do it today.
Right.
So since you're not going to start in by diving into risk tolerance and diversification, we're going to start by talking about our fear. How does that kind of look?
So I think the fear is a super important part of it, and one that is kind of preyed upon. And the fear, I'm going to back it up a second. So there was a recent survey, that was a Citibank survey, talking about money, or flipping this, money came out as the greatest stressor in American lives, above politics, above religion, above health, above family worries, above anything else. So, and I've mentioned this before, guess percentage. The percentage of people who say their number one stress in their life is money.
I mean, it has to be over half, but how high can it go?
73%. So wow. 73% of Americans don't agree on anything except the number one stress in their life is money. And then that stress translates. It goes to shame, it goes to guilt, it goes to anxiety, it goes to fear, and it goes to a feeling of lack instead of a feeling of abundance. So if we deal with that baggage, that part, that stressful load, then we can start transforming the anxiety, stress, fear, lack into confidence and abundance and happiness and joy and being satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't necessarily need to start with the fear. Too often in this is a mode used in financial services and trained. There are books on it in my bookshelf behind me that are, find the pain point. Find the pain point and sell people something. And that's not, I think, where we want to live. That's not a healthy place to live. It's not a positive place to live. So instead of, find the pressure point, push on it, let's talk first about where you want to be. What do you want your life to look like? And it's not a rate of return, and it's not an investment portfolio. And for all of us, it's very different, and it changes. Like, there are so many people whose lives we all know have changed irrevocably in the last 18 months, the last 14 months. And that's going to continue on, where goals will have changed along with that. And some of it might be, just a repositioning based on everything that we've been through. And now we're looking at life through a different lens. I am not a minimalist, but I sold a big house last summer and now live in a little house. And I got rid of almost everything that I had. And it was born of both, I have a little house, this won't fit, what am I going to do with it? But also, like, it's time to release and let it go, and I don't need it anymore because new phase of life. So many of us go through that, and yet we don't match it to our financial being and well-being. So instead of saying, what are your goals, and talking about that as people, we tend to look money-wise and say, what are your goals? Like, do you want to be in an annuity or a life insurance product? Do you want to be in a retirement account or brokerage account? Those aren't goal discussion. Those are things. Those are, Barb will say, it's toolbox, right? Infinite tools, but what are we going to use them to build? So where I like to start is like kind of a goofy question maybe, but if you could wave your magic wand and have life be like you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Another way of saying it is, if everyone, like, if do it with me for just a second, like, sit back, take a breath, and shut your eyes, and fast forward yourself 10, 20 years. What do you want it to look like? Right?
So far ahead.
It's so far ahead. But it really can give you pause and make you think, because we get so caught up in our day to day, could, shoulda, should, need to. What do you want that to look like? That's your financial plan right there. Right? Those are your goals. That's where you want to be. And it's not to say there aren't things we got to get out of now, that we have to address now, that we have to fix now. They're here. The now is here. But to be able to take that vision and match it to what we're doing in our finances is a more feminine point of view. And that's where I like to start. So the first question is, if things could look like whatever you want them to look like, what does it look like? What is it? And I'll frequently, either in workshops or if I am working with a new client, have them do a vision board.
I have mine right here in front of me.
Yay! So, and I have them do one, it's financially oriented. So really is taking into account time and priorities in the vision board. And it's a really helpful tool. We put it away, and then when we redo the plan, we might revisit the vision board to see what has shifted or what's been accomplished. So once we've gone through that, what we want things to look like, the next question to deal with our guilt and shame and lack, which I'm going to segue or sidetrack a little bit here. That's not a fault. It's a reality. We all deal with shame and guilt and lack about different things. but the ability to deal with them is what helps us get through them, because the more we shove it down, say it's fine, pretend it doesn't exist, the bigger it gets and the weightier it gets and the less anything changes. So back to it. If you got a picture of what you want things to look like, then the next question is, what are the roadblocks? What's in your way? What is stopping you from getting there? And then here's where the real work starts, or the deep work starts, because our tendency is to look at something outside. I don't get paid enough. I was told I'm stupid and I'm not able to do that thing, whatever the thing is. I can never afford it. I have to fill in the blank for my fill in the blank. Kids, friends, family, house, job, the something else that we all have to take care of. And that's not really what's stopping us when push comes to shove. Our roadblocks are ours. We own them, we built them. And in order to start moving them out of the way, we need to start understanding where they come from. And then, like, the enemy of guilt and shame is shining the light on the guilt and the shame and talking about it, right? And my guilt and shame is different than yours and different than anyone else who's joined us, or my neighbors, or the people walking on the street here. We all have our different spaces and baggage, but it all comes from something we've been through. And I can look back at my money drama and my money stories and my money mindset, whatever we want to call it. And if I really start digging into it, I can see why I've acted the way I've acted, or why I have guilt or shame in different areas of my life. And it's funny, I had a call just before jumping on this with a very old friend. And we were talking a little bit about this presentation and money and mindset and whatnot. And I was relating a story about how my family was like we do not talk about money. Money is a taboo subject. We don't. It's never to be spoken. It's like Voldemort, for those who know. It's like, he who shall not be named, money shall not be named, because then we're not going to deal with it. And I didn't come from a family that was either poor or wealthy. We were, perfectly middle class and comfortable, but we did not talk about money. That was a thing. And then lots of other stories I can go into, but the long end game of that story is then I entered a marriage where we didn't talk about money, but we had crazy different money mindsets. We are now divorced. My ex was much more, say, ostentatious, and money to him meant entirely different things than it meant to me. And yet I carried with me from my youth the, don't overspend, don't do anything showy, you don't need those brand name jeans, and so on and so on. Then I brought that into my kids' lives. Like, you're going to have these things because I didn't have them, and it's my
Of course, we all have to do it.
Yeah. And this just leads to a huge clash of goals and communication, and a lot of fundamental, communication problems and issues that if we start looking at, why do I do that thing? Whatever the money thing is, whatever the roadblock thing is, do that thing. Why do I find that I have a wall full of beautiful handbags and shoes that I haven't been able to wear in 14 months because I don't go anywhere? And I'm stressing out about paying my credit card bill. Where does it come from?
And I think, to jump in there, there's people who might, like, since we don't have this conversation enough, it's things that people might not even notice, that sometimes you don't see how other people do things, so you don't realize that you're doing it differently. I don't want to say you're doing it wrong, but like, maybe your family, like, your mom's always had all the purses and shoes, and always had the credit card bill. So you're doing that same thing. So you don't really realize that it's different because that's all you're used to. You're used to, you kind of live, you didn't know that people don't live this way. And so I think that's
a choice.
Exactly.
Choice. Like, when we're making our choices out of habit and we're making choices out of past experience, they're not necessarily a choice. They are a habit. It's predetermined what we're going to do. When we start talking about it and thinking about it and going, oh, why is it I do this thing? then we gain much more control over it, and it
Mhm.
doesn't control us. All of its choices when it comes right down to it.
This applies anywhere in life. I just want everyone to know that this is just beyond money. This is everywhere in life.
Mm-hmm.
So, you tell us to identify what we really want, and we're going to start. So we start looking for those barriers and those,
The
not
roadblocks.
those, yeah, those blocks. I don't want to say pain points, So then you just start work on kind of breaking those down, and it really can help you financially because you see those barriers and see where you can really overcome them because they're only barriers you set for yourself.
Yeah, and we're getting ourselves out of the day-to-day actions and habits. And, by putting those two things together, bringing them together, what I want life to look like versus what it does now, and what's standing in my way, you can start chipping away. It probably a lot is behaviorally. But it might not be. It might be, it might be as simple as switching how we prioritize and spend things. It might be big. It might be realizing, like, oh my gosh, there is nothing on my vision board and there is nothing in my heart and soul that says I want a 6-bedroom house with 8 bathrooms that I have to clean. Like, I'm out of alignment. I need to get myself back in alignment, which might not mean I got to budget or, change a lot of my lifestyle. Or it's just acknowledging how you enjoy that lifestyle and want to enjoy it, and getting in congruity and getting things back together. And then you go to the toolbox part. Go to the, I said your vision, that is your financial plan.
Right.
Your toolbox, which is the numbers part of it, that's how you're going to build it. How do you build your vision? And you got to get the roadblocks out of the way. And then you start prioritizing and picking and going, how do I get from here to here? I've removed the roadblock, or at least I acknowledge that it's there. So I might not have removed it. I might have said, you know what, I get it. It's there, but I'm dealing with it. I still want to get to that vision. And then we start talking about the how of it. Because
once you realize that roadblock, you have to decide, is it worth to go over, or is it not, and that's, that end vision, what's it worth to you, really?
Right. And by thinking through all this stuff, which sounds almost like it's not financially related at all, but as you said, like, this is life. This is what we're going through. We've talked about this before. Women are more likely to be impacted for decades by what's happened in this last year and a half, quarter with COVID. By at least acknowledging it and starting to talk about it, then we'll be able to do something about it, and deal with, how many women had to face, like, I give up my job because my kids are being homeschooled and they're 6 and 8 years old, or they're teenagers and they need someone in the home with them because I love them dearly, but no 16-year-old should be alone in their bedroom all day long. Whatever it is most likely that the person who has stopped work or taken on that role in addition to work is the woman in the household. Not always. That's a generalization, but it seems to hold pretty true. The other thing that, like, is falling out of this is the wage gap, instead of getting smaller, is getting bigger, because
100%.
those who have more, and those who were lower earners have stepped back, and they're probably going to start at an even lower rate. Who knows? Lower wage stepping back in. Got a little sidetracked there on the whole COVID thing, so I apologize.
But like you said, decades, let's underline that. It's not just we're a couple more years behind, it's decades. And I mean, a couple years ago, it came out that we are already be equal in 209 years at the rate we are going. And now we took a step backwards. So we just need to bring up these conversations, because I love this video, and it's like your great grandkids, and you're like,
yeah. And that really underlines it, I suppose. And again, what we grow up with, like, I grew up post feminism, the first wave, and not really understanding it was not part of my vernacular. I don't know even today that I understand it, but I am truly coming to understand that there's no reason that women shouldn't be paid the same dollar
Right.
per dollar of work, and that sexism and ageism and racism all affect our financial well-being. And,
Hmm.
is it going to go away waving that magic wand? No. But is it going to get closer if we start talking about it? Yes.
Hmm.
Because we were generally not taught about money or raised to talk about money. It's the
Right.
same, with the should haves. When someone has a first meeting with me and is carrying all that, I should have started a retirement plan and contributed 20% starting 20 years ago. I should have. Well, you can't walk that back.
Right.
But let's address first, why should you have? Did
Hmm.
anyone sit you down 20 years ago and say, let's talk about your financial future, like purse strings is now, and make you whole and make it integrated into your life and make you comfortable having the verbiage? No. Like my daughter is 19 years old. She just graduated from a pretty elite high school. They never had one iota of financial well-being speak in her entire curriculum. It's
I,
not
I got a
addressed.
master's in business and they never taught us how to make a budget, even a household budget. I can analyze somebody else's paperwork, but
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what to do.
And that's why, like, when I hear I should have, it breaks my heart because, like, well, why? It wasn't part
Hmm.
of life or teaching, or, you're not going to be at a neighborhood barbecue and saying, so, hey, how's your financial plan going? It's not spoken.
Right.
And that carries shame with it as well, because then we end up figuring, oh, they have all figured out. They know how to do it, and I don't. So they,
Hmm.
you know, they look good. They got a new car, and those drapes are pretty attractive. And I think they're going on vacation now that we can finally travel again. They got it all figured out. When in fact, most people don't. Okay. Other fun fact: relationship of happiness to income. There's a tipping point. The tipping point of aspiring to earn more money, because we have a culture of we got to earn more money,
Hmm.
in relation to happiness, tips at $70,000 a year, which is relatively low in the big scheme of things when we see people with net worths of tens of millions and billions of dollars and a
Right.
seemingly like easy flow of money because they bought fill in the blank stock. Um, it it's not relational. There's not a direct relationship between making more and more and more money or having more and more things to satisfaction and happiness. So if we
Look at some of the richest couples in the world are getting divorced.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Money,
or they already have, and um, clearly the money didn't keep that together,
no.
you know.
Married, not married, divorced, widowed, money is still not going to be the key. And it is not to say it's not important, um,
Hmm.
right? We need it to pay our bills, to eat, and to have a degree of happiness and comfort in our lives.
Just be able to breathe a bit.
Yeah, to be able to breathe. But it's not going to buy the happiness.
Mhm.
So the striving for more and the looking outward and looking at, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, the grass is always greener, whatever the case may be, that it's better out there
Mhm.
is not. It's just it's not better out there. Under $70,000 a year, studies show it is better out there. Like that's the point at which people can breathe.
Amazing.
Manage it,
Mhm.
breathe. But it's not happening. It's enough, which is
Mhm.
if you all ever want to look this up, there's an interesting TED talk about enough. And I think it's Ted Kaufman, but I think that's the wrong name. Anyway, it's just if we turn our relationship with money on its head and we stop making it this weighty, anxiety-ridden, stress-filled, guilty relationship, and start talking through our relationship with money and what we really want out of it, which is whatever your life picture is, and mine is going to be different. But that's what money can really get for us. So if we turn it on our head and say, what I want and need and strive for is enough, a sense of security, of being able to breathe, a plan for that, because a lot of anxiety comes from, I just don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know who to trust. The last financial advisor I talked to wouldn't look me in the eye, just talk to my significant other. There was one at the table. There's a lot of weight, and it's not all internal. There's a lot of, I think, baggage in this industry with how women have been treated. And now you'll see things here and there, more and more, about, women are the market to concentrate on. Well, women, we're not a market, we're people.
We're half the population.
Yeah. And we're not just an opportunity to sell some more stuff and get a commission. We do look at our decisions differently. We're more likely to be caretakers. We're more likely to be pressured money-wise. We're more likely to need more because we live longer. We're more likely to be out of the workforce longer. We have so many more likelies that aren't attended to in how we look at money. And again, it circles back to, and then we feel guilty and shamed because we should have taken care of that stuff 20 years ago. Not necessarily.
With all these professionals, the other thing that's always heard is, don't worry, sweetheart. I got you. Don't worry. And, we're not buying the product because we're worried about that ROI is, 7.2 versus 2.8. I don't know, whatever. We're buying it because we know we have security for the future. We're buying it. I am concerned because this is my, retirement. This is 20 years of my life. This is, I'm not concerned that I don't understand these acronyms you're using. That's not what I want you to explain to me. I want you to explain how I am being protected for life.
Right.
And that's why I came to have this conversation. And, that's where Purse Strings really thrives, is like, that's what you need. I'm not telling you you need to have every investment in the highest funds. I'm telling you, you need to be secure for the future. And so don't work with someone who says, just don't worry about it, sweetheart. No, that's why I'm here. I'm worrying about it, and come put me at ease.
Right. And have the conversation. And like I actually do a separate presentation, and one of the slides I go over, it's like, when you see these things, just run. And if I do them, run. I'm not everyone's person, but there is a person out there for you. There's a person who can help you with your finances, who will make you feel comfortable, who will answer every single one of the questions you have, who will be your partner in this whole thing. And if you get someone who's pressuring you to buy something, especially something you don't understand, who can't explain what it's supposed to do for you, is not responsive to your questions, just run, because there are
trust your gut there.
Yeah, look at your purse strings list. Like, go to people you trust and look for people you trust. And they're also then, you've got the right professional in place to help you work through your money story, your baggage, your guilt, and your shame. And I do not say that judgmentally. I have it. We all have it. It's part of the human condition, and it's part of our female condition that we're working through this stuff. In my lifetime, things have changed dramatically. And it's not all like hairstyles and skirt lengths. Things have changed dramatically, but they need to change more, and they need to be equitable and fair. And I purposely don't say equal, because we need different things. Women need different things in our financial planning. So I'm gonna do a quick recap and regroup.
Pull full circle all together now.
We'll see if I pull it all together. We'll see how it goes. The starting point is figure out what you want for you in your life and how that looks. The next thing is figure out what's in your way. Like, what are the roadblocks? Then you got to dig. Where did it come from? Is it your family origin? Is it your marriage? Is it yourself? Is it something that happened in junior high school at the lunch table? It is something. There's stuff there. There is underlying money baggage in all of us. What's the thing that's affecting your roadblock? What's the thing that's keeping you from getting to your goal? or things. And then there are going to be layers of those things. And don't take on shame because there are bunches of them. There are going to be bunches of them. Just take on and breathe and move forward. So you address the roadblocks, you figure out where it's coming from in you, and then you start to either acknowledge it, welcome it in the room, and say, I'm going to sit with you, you roadblock, you thing that's making me crazy, you thing from the lunch table, and I'm going to go to my goal anyway. You're here, and I acknowledge you. You're part of me, but we're moving forward. Or you deal with it and can truly put it behind you. Either way, we acknowledge it, and then you start with the toolbox, moving towards your goals, moving towards the things that are important to you, whether it's a vacation home or braces for your child or a handbag. I mean, it's okay. There's no judgment, but it's empowerment and knowledge and support and calling out the shame instead of ignoring shame.
That's great.
That's the circle.
It's great. Now I have a tough question. What goal are you working towards right now?
Okay, very.
And anyone else on, we'd love to hear what goal you're working
what
towards.
goals are you working towards? So I moved last year. I am building a new practice here as well as all my clients in Chicagoland, and I now have clients throughout the country due to
Awesome.
COVID and the internet, which is good. But I am working towards focusing all of my work energy towards education and empowerment. Meaning, and this is kind of a trap of the industry as well. You might look at someone and go, oh, they would be a great client because they are financially successful and they're quick to make a decision. And if they aren't my ideal person, like someone I can truly partner with and support and help and be on this journey with, then they are not part of my world. So I'm really working on focusing on that. And sometimes there's a like swirl aspect where you go, wait, and this is a mindset thing. This is baggage from my industry. I might be tempted to look back like 8 years ago and go, oh my gosh, I would have absolutely pursued that client as a sale. And now that's not part of what I want to be when I grow up or who I want to work with or how I want to help. So I am focusing on that as growth. And then there's a sidebar to it where I talked to a publisher 2 weeks ago. So I'm working on learning from people, learning from like souls about what they need and what their interpretation is of where do you want to be, what are your roadblocks, how do we get there, to share that in a book. So those are my.
That's so exciting.
It is exciting.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that goal.
Thank you.
Dr. Barb, I'm pulling you in here.
Good. I was taking copious notes. I love this conversation because it just opens the dialogue around money and how we're all coming to the table with our own life experiences and kind of what's been woven into our fabric as we've grown up, and the experiences that we've had over our years. And it comes to how we approach our money. And we're trying to change the perspective that money is your power, and you have the ability to select and choose how to use that. And when you're buying something, you're really trading your power for something else that you would want. And to be very financially conscious about that, and not only live for today, but plan for your future self. As you well know, Brenda, working with so many divorced women, is it at 50% now, divorce? Is it 50-50?
It ebbs and flows, and it depends on where you get your report. Actually, there's a reduction in divorces among younger couples now.
Oh, nice.
Part of it is they think they didn't get married till much later, so that wave has pushed forward. But there's a great increase in 50, 55 plus divorces, and it's called gray divorce, which are actually, in a lot of cases, more vulnerable women partners.
Yep.
Because it was more traditional to be out of the workforce and not as engaged in the finances. So,
Right. And they're later in their lives, so it's hard to catch up on your retirement.
right. To recoup when you're
Right.
55 or 56 or 60
Right.
is more difficult, which is all the more reason to always be on it. You don't have to be the person in control of it, but if you're in a partnership, you're a partner,
Right.
just as much right to all the information.
Yes. Yeah.
So to take charge of that, and I do caution people, and this might sound abrupt, but if you're in a relationship and you ask financial questions and your answer is no, I got it, don't worry, your pretty little head, you're taken care of, with nothing to back it up, I would think long and hard about I guess your status or stature in that relationship, and be willing to stand up for yourself and your future. You're part of that couple, and say, hey, nope, wasn't kidding. Really do want to know where we stand. Because I do run into a lot of that with women who are divorcing who don't know.
Yeah.
Fearful and don't know where to get the information, or they weren't coached prior to saying, I want to get a divorce, to get the financial information, and then it turns into another, I don't know, kind of quagmire of trying to find it.
Yes. And we're not just saying it because we think it's a good thing to do. It's through all of our experience, through the data, through the literature, through what we're seeing every single day, where women are caught kind of deer in the headlights because they always thought they'd be secure. And all those financial decisions made over her lifetime, if she's not in the conversation, will impact her more than anyone, will impact her because she will age alone.
And even if, let's, say you have a long and happy marriage, you're still likely to be the person who is left to figure your own finances for a decade or so of life. And that's a tough time to not only regroup, but even start understanding your position.
Right. And so, let's lighten it up a bit. It doesn't have to be hard, right? It doesn't have to be hard. Start today.
Start by thinking of exactly what you want to wave the magic wand at.
Yeah. And, give Brenda a call, reach out to her and start having these conversations. You can just start from ground zero, or maybe you're even starting from what you feel is behind. That's okay. You're starting. So it's important. So that's what Purse Strings is about. It's about coming to pursestrings.co, looking at our resources, digging through some of the content that's out there on the website, looking through all the resources that we have for financial professionals. Reach out to Brenda. She's very easy to talk to if you want to get started. And let's make it happen. Let's make sure women are living a financially fearless lifestyle. I do also want to put in a plug that Maggie will be facilitating a course. Want to tell them a little bit about that, Maggie?
Oh, yeah, great plug. We have our Purse Strings for Financially Fearless Women, our foundational basics course that goes through budgets, SMART goals, net worth, figuring out, where your cash is flowing, what's in your paycheck, who takes it and why. And so we are going to do that over 3 weeks. It's going to be 2 days a week, an hour each. And we're just going to dive in. We're going to really get our money thoughts going. It's going to be live at night on Zoom. So it's private. I mean, you don't have to share personal information, but, you feel comfortable to talk. And I would love, it's free. It's absolutely free. We'd love to have some people sign up and just become financially fearless.
Yeah, and there's only 20 spots, so jump in now. And the way to get into this, the course, is to join our Facebook group and then click on the link that's there, right, Mags?
Yeah, it should be there. Should be on top.
Okay.
But
great.
If you're ready just to jump in, call Brenda. She'll help you out.
Yeah, Brenda's always at your beck and call as well. So thank you, Brenda, for joining us again today. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Great day to start is today. You can always contact Brenda at Bridging Wealth Solutions or brenda@bridging.com. And she's also one of our Purse Strings approved providers, so you can check her out on our website, pursestrings.co. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll be back again here next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Brenda.